This is Andre Touchy-Feely. You're listening to the Verbal Scrap Podcast. Let's get weird.
This is the Shark, Anthony Avila. You're listening to Verbal Scrap.
This is Justin, the Raw Deal Basement. You're listening to Verbal Scrap.
This is Nan Fan, and you're listening to the Verbal Scrap Podcast. I'm a fighter. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to fight.
Hey, this is Dave Hirschbein, MMA Gold, and you're listening to the Verbal Scrap.
I've worked so hard to do what I got to do in here. I took so much blood for this sport. I took so much pain, everything for the sport.
Hey, y'all, this is Zeke Johnston. You're listening to SRMMA.com Verbal Scrap. Stay tuned. They got some good stuff coming up.
This is Ritchie Boogeyman Martinez, and you're listening to Verbal Scrap.
It's JW from SRMMA.com. We're here on the Verbal Scrap Podcast. Have a special guest, Ritchie, the Boogeyman Martinez, tough enough welterweight champion here on the Landa's Egg Whites Hotline. How you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing amazing. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. I hear you're going to be competing very, very soon.
I'll be making my pro debut on November 16th for a Gladiator Challenge.
Well, I wanted to ask you about when you were able to win the title. I had to see that fight live. It was outstanding. You were able to defeat Jeff Roman. You had a really interesting style. I assume it comes from your background in breakdancing and stuff like that, is what you told my boy. Could you tell us a little bit more about where you come from and kind of how you tailored that style to suit you?
I've been breakdancing for about 14 years, and that was my gateway to jiu-jitsu. So I definitely put my ability to breakdance, maybe my posture and just my movement for jiu-jitsu, and that definitely helps me take my jiu-jitsu to the next level. So it's basically you can't duplicate the style that I have in jiu-jitsu.
Well, I wanted to ask you a little bit more about that fight. You were able to pull out the submission eventually. It looked like your game plan was kind of to wear him down and stuff like that. You had said that you had actually planned for him to catch your kicks and things like that. Did you feel that confident in your ground game that you can defeat, a guy especially like Roman, who's a bigger kind of wrestler and has a lot of power?
Yeah, I already knew I was going to eventually submit him. My plan was to bait him with my kicks. So I was kicking him as much as I could, just so he could catch those kicks. I was even doing them really slow just so he could set up the catch. But I was really confident in my jiu-jitsu. And I knew eventually I was going to submit him.
Well, I wanted to ask you about your style, ever impeding you. Do you ever feel because even in that fight, there had to be points of the fight where he was definitely pouring it on. Do you ever feel at a disadvantage ever, or are you always confident that your style will prevail?
I'm always confident in my style, but I was definitely stuck in some bad positioning during that Jeff Roman fight. I was stuck against the cage, and at the end of the first round, and I actually was scared that they were actually going to stop it. Even if I wasn't getting hurt, I just thought they were going to stop it just because I wasn't able to move out of that situation. But I definitely felt safe, and I always feel confident in my jiu-jitsu. I've been training it really hard and for a while now, and I'm always positive that I'm going to win with submission.
As far as I'm aware, are you still with 10th Planet?
Yes, I'm actually a brown belt under Eddie Bravo. Still searching for my black belt. And I train my jiu-jitsu with 10 Planet, and then I also train with Team Hurricane Awesome, and that's mostly for my MMA and my striking.
Well, I wanted to ask you about some of the knowledge and the atmosphere down there. I mean, Eddie Bravo is one of the guys that's obviously well respected, inventor of all kinds of moves. What do you feel like your time there has done for you and kind of transforming, a base knowledge into what you've been able to do, which is a really tight style. You just seem to wear guys out. Yeah,
I actually think that 10 Planet Jiu-Jitsu is best for MMA. I respect all Jiu-Jitsu, but 10 Planet Jiu-Jitsu is literally made for MMA, so I feel that for MMA it's the best thing that I could have done. But it's really a tight style. It's overhooking and just really tight clinch situations. So I definitely think that it's really positive for MMA, and I think that actually more people should if you're doing MMA, you should probably be doing 10 Planet Jiu-Jitsu. It's the best you could do for MMA Jiu-Jitsu right now, in my eyes. Well, for our fans that, don't know you as well or maybe aren't familiar with your style, you definitely have an interesting look. You definitely have an interesting style.
how have you kind of cultivated that? I mean, you got the beard going on, you got the tats, and you got that breakdancing background. I mean, that's got to be an interesting thing for everybody that you come across. Have you ever encountered any weird situations?
Not necessarily. I mean, like, there are people like trying to touch my beard all the time, or asking funny questions, or how much would it cost me for you to cut that beard? Stuff like that. Just really random questions and stuff, but nothing too crazy of a situation, you know?
Well, as far as breakdancing, you know, what was your thing? You know, what kind of moves are you? There's so much different styles of breakdancing out there. Were you popping and locking? I mean, what was kind of your moves?
Actually, like, the kind of style that me and my crew have, which my breakdancing crew is the Freak Show, and we actually have a weird style. We're like abstract breakdancing, which is it's kind of like a newer, like, really flexible type of breakdancing. It's not like that typical, like, spinning on your head or none of that stuff, but it's really flexible. It's really high power moves, and yeah, that's basically the style I have. That's why I feel that my jiu-jitsu is really explosive, and it's like transition from one move to the next, just because of my breakdancing style.
We're talking to Ritchie, Boogeyman Martinez here on the Lana's Egg Whites Hotline Verbal Scrap Podcast. I wanted to ask you a little bit more about that breakdancing style. It sounds like you're still into the scene pretty heavy. Is that correct?
Yeah. Actually, I compete as much as I can. I actually just competed like 2 weekends ago, and I was actually supposed to be in San Francisco this weekend for a breakdancing competition, but with my scheduling, I wasn't able to make it, so my crew will be there. But yeah, I compete as much as I can.
Well, we like to give some credit where credit is due. Feel free to shout out some links or anything where people might be able to check out some of the stuff your crew does.
Yeah, if you guys want to check out my breakdancing crew, just go on YouTube and you can literally put Freak Show versus, and then a lot of battles are going to come up. I mean, I've been dancing since like 2002, so all kinds of battles will be happening, even if they're old, you know?
Well, I have to ask you, I don't know if you got a girlfriend, if you're married, anything like that, but do you feel like it's easier to score some lady attention as far as mixed martial arts or in the breakdancing scene?
In high school, it's easier to do it for breakdancing, but for right now, MMA is really popular, so I think more girls are attracted to MMA fighters.
Well, as far as going pro, you said you're going to be competing in November for a Gladiator Challenge. I mean, what's the you had talked about going pro potentially at your previous Tough Enough win. Now that it's going to be happening for you, I mean, what are you hoping that your amateur background does for you, especially being able to compete in the higher level organizations like Tough Enough?
For right now, it's kind of like it's kind of hard for them to find me an opponent because a lot of people are kind of scared of fighting especially debuters are scared to fight somebody that has such a background as far as a Tough Enough title. So yeah, it's really hard for them to find me a guy to fight me right now. So I'm probably not going to be fighting a debuter. I'm probably going to be fighting somebody that already has a decent record, just because most people are kind of timid to fight a Tough Enough champion.
Well, I wanted to ask you about the weight classes. Obviously, in the pros, there's a lot of guys that have been known to cut a ton of weight and to get down to, especially lightweight, 170. Do you feel any pressure at all to move to any sort of weight classes, or do you feel comfortable where you're at?
A lot of people were telling me that I should probably drop to 155 as a pro, but honestly, I think that would be just too much of a weight cut. I walk around like 185, 190, and I fight at 170, so I feel that that's a really good weight class for me. But depending on how I do, I've been doing really well in the amateur. So if I keep on doing well in the pro, I'll stay here. If it doesn't look too well in my first couple of fights, I'll definitely think of going lower.
I wanted to ask you about your pacing and stuff like that as a pro. Many people have different perspectives on getting as many fights as possible or spacing them out. As a professional, are you going to be planning your career based on, your health from fight to fight, or do you have a plan as far as how often you might want to compete?
I definitely want to fight every other month, hopefully. Like, that's how it's looking like it's going to be right now. But, you can never tell, especially, injuries and fight camps going wrong, like people getting injured and stuff like that. But as far as now, I definitely want to do at least 6 a year as a pro. So hopefully it goes that way, and hopefully I won't get injured and stuff like that. Hopefully I'll be healthy enough to fight those fights. But yeah, I'm a play year by year, basically.
Well, I just had a few more things for you before we let you go. A lot of amateurs that make the step to pro, it's a new thing for them being in an atmosphere where there's so many eyes and attention. But you even competing in Tough Enough, that's an organization that is respected even by the UFC as being one of the top shows in the country. What did it mean to you to be competing for them? And when you were able to win your title, you got like Ken Shamrock wrapping the title around your waist and all the guys that were there. Joe Silva from the UFC is watching. Was that, a pressure cooker, or do you feel like you thrived in that situation?
I'm really good under pressure, and I really don't get timid by big crowds and stuff. So honestly, like I'm already kind of used to it just because of the breakdancing. I mean, I've been breakdancing like in big crowds, like all over the United States and even the world. So I'm kind of used to big crowds. But it was not really a big deal. Like it was actually kind of cool, like meeting everybody and stuff. But other than that, I didn't feel pressured or nothing.
Well, we just had a few fun questions for you. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Superpower? Probably flying. That would be awesome.
I feel like everybody picks flying, and I feel like I used to think flying, but then I thought, because I'm kind of lazy as well, that just teleporting would be better, wouldn't it? You could just get there. You don't have to worry about birds hitting you in the face or anything.
Yeah,
have you ever thought about that?
That's kind of cool, too, but I don't know why. It's just flying. Just hovering over people, just doing what you want, I guess.
Well, Superman's got no problem picking up chicks, so I feel like that'd be a good choice for you.
Right.
Quick question, since you kind of alluded to it a little earlier. Is there a price that you would cut your beard for?
No, not at all. Actually, like a lot of people ask me, to cut it a little bit or maybe shorten it, even for fights. Like people are like, well, they won't fight you if you're gonna let your beard grow out like that. Like like they also have that big country. They're making him cut, or they're trying to make him cut his beard, right, for his next fight.
Yeah, for Cormier, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't even do that. I'd be like, I'm injured, I can't fight, and then I'll just wait till they schedule me for the next one.
Well, since you're here on the Lana's Egg Whites hotline, I wanted to ask you a little bit more about their supplements and what's the working relationship like for you guys and how have things been going?
Lana's super cool. She's awesome, man. She helps me out a lot. She promotes really well for me, and I love her. She's such an awesome person, and I love the Egg Whites.
Well, just one more thing for you. Going pro, you obviously want to get that first victory. Being down in SoCal, you're going to be, around people friends, family, training partners. What are you thinking the atmosphere is going to be like for you in the pro debut, and what are you hoping that it brings you?
Sorry about that.
Well, being down in SoCal, you're going to be in GC, obviously going to be around a lot of people that friends, family. What do you feel like the atmosphere is going to be like, and what are you hoping to do in front of people that you care about or respect?
I usually get a lot of people in my fights, and I definitely thrive off people's energies, and I'm hoping the same thing. I'm hoping I get a lot of people going to watch my fight, and that usually hypes me up, and it makes me make sure I get the win. I can't leave my fans down. I definitely fight for myself, but the second people I fight for is my fans. I love everybody that cheers for me, and just everybody that's there for me. It's awesome.
Well, before we let you go, we'd like to give you the opportunity to give shout-outs, thank yous, anything you'd like to say, sir.
Okay, yeah, I just want to give shout-outs to my teams, the Freak Show, which is my breakdancing crew, Planet Vista, San Diego Combat Academy, and Team Hurricane Awesome. Thank you guys for everything, and also want to give a shout-out to my sponsors, Lena's Egg White for sure. Thank you for everything. Nuwaza Apparel, Baylax Apparel, Tapper Sleep, and Portland's Beer Company.
Well, November, you can check out gladiatorchallenge.com for more information about all their upcoming events. Ritchie, the Boogeyman Martinez, is going to be competing, making his pro debut later. I really appreciate your time, and I wish you the best of luck, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You guys have a great day.
This segment is brought to you by Espresso Metro, based in Sacramento, California, just near Sacramento City College. You can call them at 916-444-6130. For you guys that don't know, they're almost 21 years old. They're a beloved Sacramento independent coffee house and cafe. The Metro Coffee House and Cafe is the only cafe in town with a vintage Italian La San Marco hydraulic lever-style espresso machine. Their espresso drinks, coffees, and large selection of teas are outstanding. They offer a variety of drinks including Italian sodas, other sodas, bottled water, juices, oddwallas, food, and more. For more information, you can find Espresso Metro on Facebook and stop by their facilities today at 2104 11th Avenue.